Hello friends, and welcome to the Pressure to Passion podcast, redefining your life after trauma. And as usual, I'm your host, Miss D May, and I am here with Miss Leeanne Adu. Leeanne is a mother, a business owner, cancer thriver, and encourager of others. Leeanne, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I'm good. I am really good, thank you. Yeah.
Good. So listen, before we get into our conversation, I want to hit you with some quick fire. Okay, so your first question is, what is the worst pickup line a guy has ever given to you?
That's hot, because I don't get chatted up.
You and me both.
I do not get.
Days.
I don't get chirped. I don't get approached. So has
Why
there
do you
ever
think
been?
that is?
Because I'm tall and intimidating.
You think?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't be 6 foot tall and.
Yeah. You think guys are just intimidated by that?
Yeah, I think so. And maybe I give off like quite a stush face.
Like, no, shut
Yeah.
So you can't remember the word?
I've never had a bad pickup line. Because it's never been any.
Oh, no, God. You know what? I feel you. Honestly, I feel you. I don't really get that either. So if money was no obstacle and you knew you were going to be set for life, what would you spend your first £100,000 on? Three things. You knew you were going to be set for life, so don't worry about money ever again.
Okay, this is not because I'm worried about money, but I need to own a bubble tea shop. A bubble tea. I have to own a bubble tea shop. And that's not because I want to make money, it's because I enjoy it. Yeah. Me and my friend have been talking about setting one up. So, yeah, owning my own bubble tea shop. I'll be one of
your first customers. I love a bubble tea.
Come on in.
Yeah, man. What's your favourite bubble tea?
So if I'm feeling really indulgent, then I like to have a milk tea with tapioca, egg pudding, and a foam on top. If I'm going fruity, then I need to have maybe like a strawberry with mango popping bubbles and coconut and pineapple jelly.
Do you know I've never had any of those?
Oh, yeah, I thought you like bubble tea.
I do, but I'm a creature of habit. So I would have a hazelnut milk tea with coconut jelly.
I've never had a hazelnut milk tea before.
Yeah, I bet that's good. I love nutty. And if it was a fruity tea, I've had this mango thing with lychee jelly.
Yeah, with jelly or poppers?
Jellies. I don't like the poppers and I don't like tapioca.
Oh.
But I do like bubble tea.
Oh.
Okay. So, your bubble tea shop?
Yeah, my bubble tea shop. I would probably buy a new car. There's not many things that I need in life. So I'd get a nice new car. And I'd probably buy Tiana a horse. Now we are talking. Yeah. Horses are my spirit animal. Yeah, I think she'd like that. She'd probably cry a lot, but she'd like it. She says she'd love it, secretly hates it.
Oh, no, those are some three very, very good things. I love those, especially the horse thing now. The horse thing. Right. So, who is Leeanne Adu? Tell us who you are, Lee.
Well, big questions. So, the basics, 39. Live in South East London, lived in London most of my life since I was a teenager. Mother to my daughter, Tiana, who's
amazing.
She's a bit awesome. Yeah.
Not a bit, a lot. Just a lot awesome.
She's 6.5 and she is the most special child ever. She is brilliant. I run a business. I run a remote PA agency called Leave It With Lava. We support mostly Black-owned business, mostly female-led businesses, people who are trying to make a difference in the world. I've been a PA my whole entire life. I've won awards. And so when I started my business, it had to be doing the thing that I really enjoyed doing and was good at. So those are...
I just realised what lava meant the other day.
Oh.
Am I right? Is your initials VA?
Yeah. Leeanne Adu, virtual assistant. Yes, that's me. When I was working in the office, I'm so cheesy. I'll work as a PA with my executives and I'd be like, okay, leave it with Lee. So when I started my business, I was like, how can I take that little thing that was part of my day job for 15 years and make it part of my new career? So that's where Leave It With Lava came from. It just grew from Leave It With Lee.
Organic.
Yeah. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it does. So that's Leeanne. Yeah. Mother, business owner.
Part-time runner. part-time Peloton user.
Why part-time? Come on now. We need to take a class together.
Yeah, we still haven't. Yeah. I'm still finding my way with it. I'm still, as we're going through the conversation, and as you know, my energy levels vary wildly. And what I find is if I'm a bit ill, then I just don't have the energy. And I've run marathons, half marathons. I had my own running group, which was for slower pace runners. We were groundbreaking with the support that we gave to people, Hackney Half, the British 10K, the Oxford Half. We would go and we would pace the back of these groups. And it was really, really amazing. And my relationship with running has just changed so much since I was sick, that I've never quite found my way back into it as yet. So yeah, that's my part-time runner.
I'm sure at some point when you're ready, you'll get back to it. But tell our friends and our listeners a little bit about some of the trauma that you've been through in your life and some of the strategies you've used to get through.
It's difficult because I always thought I was someone who hadn't had much trauma in my life. And to hear me speak to my therapist, because I've got a therapist now, I'm very grown up.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, nothing traumatic's happened to me. And then she'd be like, yeah, but what about A, B, C, and D? And, I still think a lot of the stuff that has happened to me is not trauma the way people would think it is. But the things that I have found as an adult that have really affected me are pregnancy and childbirth. And of course, my cancer diagnosis. So I got pregnant quite easily back in early 2017. And I thought pregnancy was going to be not a walk in the park, but I was fit, I was strong, I was healthy. I didn't have any underlying health conditions. So I thought I'd be able to handle it. I thought I'm mentally strong. And I have had cases of depression throughout my life, moments where I've been in very dark places. So at my appointment, when the nurse said to me, have you got a history of depression? I said, yes.
Yeah.
So straight away, she referred me to the mental health midwives, which was fantastic because as I got through my pregnancy, my mental health really, really dipped. And I found the pregnancy incredibly hard. And I had this conversation again with my therapist today. I just sort of disassociated it a little bit. So I was really sick. I was really very, very sick in terms of nausea. To the point where for the first 3 months, all I could eat was potatoes and ice lollies. And it was just, I couldn't walk to the end of the street without kind of needing to throw up at some point.
And that was pregnancy related?
So that was pregnancy related nausea. And because of that, I just didn't enjoy the pregnancy at all. And my mental health really started to drop. I was training for a marathon when I got pregnant. But because of the timing of it, I then was like, no, I'm gonna pull out of the marathon because I thought to myself, if anything happens, I'm gonna blame myself. So I then developed very bad hip pain. So then even when I wanted to run and stay active, I had so much pelvic pain that I could barely walk. I was waddling before I even had a bump. When you see those pregnant women, I was waddling because of the pain that I was in. So I could barely walk, let alone run. My mental health, like I say, really dropped because the things that were keeping me sane, I couldn't do anymore. And I had quite a lot of negative thoughts. So I was signed off work. I went on maternity leave at the earliest point that I could. And it wasn't that I didn't want to be pregnant. I just didn't expect it to be as hard as it was going to be. I struggled to kind of accept that it was real. And
the pain was
the pregnancy was real. Or that and I think probably you should put a trigger warning at the beginning of this, and that even that the pregnancy was viable until my baby started moving. And people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that you're having those feelings. And I was incredibly grateful and happy to be pregnant, but I just did not enjoy it at all. So then I got very sick towards the end of my pregnancy. I got preeclampsia, was admitted to hospital and spent a week. They tried to bring her out. They tried to induce her.
At what time?
I was 36 weeks, so it wasn't too early at all. But I just remember sitting in that bed in the pregnancy monitoring unit and them talking about if I didn't get medicine me, I was going to die. And I don't know if I was supposed to hear that, but where about hospitals and all of that stuff.
Yes.
So I ended up having a C-section. They said it was an elective C-section. It absolutely wasn't. It wasn't my choice.
Right.
You told me the baby had to come out, and this was the only way she was going to come out. So, but during my surgery, the surgery didn't go great. They cut my bladder by accident. And that wasn't great. And the anaesthetic wore off during my surgery. So I remember saying to the anaesthesiologist, should I be able to feel my legs? And he was like, no. And there was so much going on. Like, Tiana was there on me. My ex-husband was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying, do you think that you should take them out of the room? Because I don't think they should be here, because I was awake for it.
And you could feel everything.
I couldn't feel everything. I could feel my legs start to move again.
So what did they do at this point? Because clearly you're not supposed to be feeling these
things. There were conversations about whether or not they should kind of put me to sleep, but they finished up what they were doing and then sent me on my way to recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And they never really explained to me what had happened. They never really... Someone said, oh, we nicked your bladder. Nothing too serious. No, what they did was they stitched my uterus to my bladder. So they then had to unstitch everything. It was a mess. I lost a lot of blood. And I later found out that people talked about me. People talked about the woman who had her uterus stitched to her bladder. I'd go in and explain what happened. Oh, yeah, we've heard about that. We've heard about that.
Because you're a case that should have never happened.
Yeah.
You know?
So then once I'd had Tiana, that left me with some real lasting mental health struggles. I was quite moderately postnatal depression. I was under the care of South London and Maudsley. I was too scared to leave the house in case a plane crashed, the house exploded as we walked past it. I was catastrophizing.
Did that manifest into it, get into that level?
Very quickly.
Right.
Because of the preeclampsia, they wanted to take my blood pressure constantly. And the more they took my blood pressure, the higher it went. And I'd be like, you just need to adjust my meds. I was accused of lying about taking my medicines. I was accused of taking them incorrectly. Every time I came in, they'd readmit me. Then they'd be like, you don't have to be here. And you've told me I've got to be here. So in the end, I refused. And just the accumulation of everything meant that Tiana was the only thing that got me through. So when I think about postnatal depression, or when I thought about it, I thought it would be not bonding with my baby and not wanting to be a mother. Actually, she was the only thing that kept me going, and everything else just fell down. Fell down.
First of all, I'm sorry to even hear half of those things that you went through. Nobody should. There's too many things there to even unpack.
Right.
You know. So at what point did you realise that you have to get help for what's happening to you, and what kind of help did you seek?
Yeah. So thankfully, my midwife, because she was a mental health midwife, I had her the whole way through the pregnancy. So when I was in hospital and literally on the floor, she got me moved to a private room and was like, you don't need to sort this out. She was amazing. Then, because of that, the health visitor would come and see me every once a week rather than sort of monthly. Yeah. So she would see me once a week. And she recommended that I do some courses. They weren't parenting courses, but they were kind of mental health courses. Right. I was also on antidepressants and seeing a psychiatrist at South London and Maudsley as well. And I did counselling. But they were all great, but what really made a huge difference was this group that I did with Mind. And it was a group called Mindful Mums. And it was a peer support group facilitated by Mind. And they got loads of us in the room. Our babies were around the same age. Yeah. And they gave us the tools and the tricks to really kind of help us settle into motherhood.
That's amazing.
It was a 5-week course, and I spent probably 4 of those 5 weeks at the back of the room crying. I just used to cry and cry and cry. No one judged me for it. There were so many things. There were things like the 5 ways to well-being, where you look, you walk, you take exercise, you learn, you give. They talked about the worry trees, ways that you can settle your mind. They talked about the changes that happen to you when you get pregnant and give birth. We talked about relationships. There were so many hints and tricks there that really,
very multifaceted.
Yeah, and with other women who were going through the same thing and could have those conversations. There were women local to me as well. So we had a WhatsApp group, and here we are 6 years later and we've still got the WhatsApp group.
Oh, yes.
It's a bit quiet. The group is a bit quiet now.
But you made
but
friends
we've got it.
And
we've got it there. Absolutely.
That sounds like a really good, useful resource out there.
It saved my life. Out of all the things I did, that was the one that saved my life.
I'm thankful for your life.
Thank you. And from then, I then volunteered for Mind for a few years after Tiana. After I finished that, I started volunteering and facilitating those peer support groups, because one, it meant that I was constantly having to reuse those tools, but it meant I was able to then support other mothers who might have been going through similar, and I could tell them, like, hey, look, this is what we can do. You can get through it.
So tell me about your cancer journey. When did that happen? How long after Tiana?
So Tiana was born in 2017. She was born December 2017. Life goes on. Started my business, quit my job, started my business.
What made you do that? Is it being a mother?
It was partly being a mother, partly I was tired of working in toxic work environments. I was tired of working for charities that pretended to care about people but didn't care about the staff working for them. I was tired of working for women who said they supported women but didn't. Because when I was on my floor during my pregnancy, you had me running up and down stairs. So I just couldn't face the thought of going back into a job. That meant I was going to lose time with Tiana. I wanted to go at the very least part-time, 3 days a week. And so, you know, people, you can do this, you can run your own business. And I was like, okay.
People telling you, sometimes other people see the things in you that you don't necessarily see. So.
I was terrified, but I thought, if I really want to spend more time at home, if I really want some freedom, then I have to do it. So I did get a part-time job, set the business up on the side in 2018. 2019, took it full-time, quit the part-time job and took the side hustle full-time. And it was going really, really well. Everything was fantastic. COVID hit. That was scary.
Very.
But thankfully, my business continued to thrive. And at that point, I was then full-time because my ex-husband wasn't working, so he could look after Tiana. October 2020, woke up one day, rolled over in bed, gave myself a squeeze. Good morning, Leeanne, and found a lump on my left breast near my armpit. Immediately messaged my mum and my best friend, like, found a little lumpy, guys. And they were like, well, what would you do? Honestly, I've got what would you do? Well, you'll tell us to go to the doctors. So I left it a couple of days, phoned my GP, didn't expect they'd see me, but they said, come on in. Saw a fantastic GP, a younger woman, who, of course, told me that I was too young and it's probably nothing, but she was going to refer me anyway. Fast forward, the 4th of December, 2 days before Tiana's, where were we? 2020. Third birthday. 2 days before our third birthday, and I had triple negative breast cancer.
Now, tell me about triple negative breast cancer, because that is considered one of the more dangerous ones, I guess.
Yeah, it's aggressive, it's fast growing. The problem with triple negative breast cancer is there's no hormone involvement. So when you've got hormone-related breast cancers, they can be treated with hormones and things like that. With triple negative, it's almost like there's no reason for the cancer. So I don't have any of the mutated genes. I don't have a family history of breast cancer. There are no hormones involved. My body just woke up one day and decided to give me cancer. So which also means the treatment options are limited. Chemotherapy, surgery, and radiotherapy are about it. There's nothing really.
What did you have?
I had all three. So they throw everything at it because they hope that something sticks. So I had chemotherapy, 20 weeks, lost every single hair on my body.
Mate, trust me, I know. I wasn't prepared for that, you know.
Not every single hair. No. Like hair on my head. Yeah.
Someone should have told me that you lost all them hairs, because I was.
Some of them I was happy about. I can't lie. Not having to shave my legs.
Yeah.
It's decent. No. But I just didn't realise, nose hairs, eyelashes. My top lip was smooth. Smooth.
And no frown on my stomach. Oh my God.
So I had all the chemotherapy. I had to have 2 blood transfusions because all my blood levels fell low. I remember it was Easter weekend and I just couldn't figure out why I was so breathless going up the stairs. And then my phone rang and they were like, right, we'll see you on Monday or Tuesday for your transfusion. I said, what transfusion? They said, yeah, transfusion. You've got to come and have blood transfusion. I was like, does someone want to explain to me what's going on here?
So no one was actually updating you about Is it because it was COVID? What was the experience like? Because it sounds like a lot of mess.
There were so many times where I think communication could have been so much better throughout my journey, from going to the one-stop shop and coming out of there feeling completely traumatised. The one-stop shop is where they do all the tests that you need to establish whether you've got cancer. So I had an ultrasound, a biopsy, a mammogram, all within the space of 2 hours.
Wow.
And I left there feeling so traumatised, but having no information about what was happening and why it was happening. Because, of course, I was too young to have cancer. To then getting phone calls telling me I needed to have transfusions, but nobody said, oh, haven't they phoned you? No, no one's phoned me. Or needing medicines to be adjusted because I was so nauseous that I couldn't function. And I just think resources were so stretched, people were so stretched, so tired. So it's not necessarily the fault of any one person, but there were so many times where I just felt like I don't know what's going on. I'm just being swept along by this. I was so angry. I was so tired. I was so sick. I was so resentful for what was happening to me that, it was a dark place.
Gosh. How did you balance being a mum and going through cancer as well, especially to someone so young?
I'm glad that Tiana was so young, because now she's 6.5 and she
understands a bit more, right?
Well, no, she'll look at a picture like, why haven't you got any hair, mummy? And I'm like, don't you remember when mummy didn't have hair? No.
Well, that was good.
Yeah. But at the time, and she's such a loving little girl, and she's a mummy's girl. She was all over me all the time. And I had a PICC line in my arm, and she'd often be like, can I touch it? Can I look at it? She'd stroke it. If I was coming back from appointment, she'd be asking me, mummy, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? But I had to really adjust the way that I parented, because toddlers are active. 3-year-olds are very, very active. And I couldn't run after her like I used to. So a lot of our play changed from active play to kind of really gentle, let's sit and read together, let's sit and draw together, let's have cuddles, stuff like that, because I didn't have the energy to do all the other bits. Yeah.
So how would you be able to, having someone so young and going through what you're going through, like, who do you turn to? Who do you speak to? Were you still at a stage of depression at that time, or had it manifested into something else, or how were you feeling mentally at that time?
Really low. At my lowest points, I wish that I'd never been told I had cancer. I'd wished I'd never found my lump. Of course, I wished I didn't have it, but here's the situation we're in. But if I hadn't have found that lump, I would have still been fit. I would have been strong, because I wasn't sick until they started pumping me full of the drugs. I might have had cancer, but I wasn't sick until they started the chemo.
So with triple negative, if it is left untreated, what happens?
It spreads. So mine had already spread to my armpit, so locally advanced. It spreads through the lymph nodes like most cancers can do, and it will metastasize in your blood, in your organs, in your bones, and it does spread fast. It grows quickly. So I don't know, if I hadn't have gone to the doctors, I don't know how long I could have left it. When you're at the point you found the lump, I asked them, like, how long's it been there? And he said 9 months to a year. So, mentally where I was at, like I say, was just, if I didn't know, then sure, I might have died, but I would have died in ignorant bliss, right? And Nazzy was like, I would be dead, but at least I wouldn't be feeling like this.
I know. To be fair, Leeanne, listen, I get what you're saying, because I don't even talk about it much, because I think I only had one really low point when I was going through my treatment, and it wasn't. I just kind of felt sorry for myself. It was like, I now have a support system, but still, like, I'm the one that has to get up every single day and live this. Yeah. But I'm also, in the same breath, I knew how determined I was to get well again. Yes. So that was, for me, my why was different. Obviously, you had a child to look after.
And I wanted to live. I wanted to get over it, but there were times where it felt so hard, and like I say, I was so angry. And I did have a great support system, even though I could hardly see that support system.
But you had them.
I had them, and there were video calls, and there were times where people showed up at my door, and I've never seen so many flowers in my life. And my best friends were always there, always at the end. My best friend came with me when I got my results. She, did everything she could to support me. My mum, my other besties, there was so much going on. So I'm glad that I had that. I did have counselling as well. My counsellor wasn't great.
But you still had somebody.
I think that representation and being able to hear and see yourself in the voices that are supporting you is important. And the man who definitely was not a mixed race or black woman, there were differences. I could see that. I remember specifically saying to him one time, I really find it difficult being described as brave. I'm not brave, I'm trying to live. I'm just trying to get on with it. And he ended the call by saying, "You're so brave, Leeanne." And I was just like,
even listening. Yeah, we're not going to see you again.
Yeah. And then the next day, the next session, he started it with, I really need to apologise. I reflected. And then he spent the next 15 minutes talking about how he called me brave when I asked him not to. So that was tricky. There was a lot of loss. There was a lot of grief. And I had to reach into a lot of the tools that I had from the pregnancy and the postnatal stuff to kind of keep myself going. I was still working as well. And one of my problems is, I kind of, what am I going to do? Shut down my business? I've got bills to pay. But I took Wednesdays off because they were chemo days, and I took a week off for surgery. So
you had a structure.
Yeah, working kept me going a lot. My clients were absolutely amazing. So keeping going, just moving forward normally keeps me going. Stay busy.
Yeah. So would that be a key piece of advice you would give to mothers struggling through any kind of mental health struggle?
No.
What would you say from your experience? How would you help? Because you are an encourager of others now. So how would you?
I think it's important to know what is important for you. I wouldn't suggest that somebody works through 4 months of chemo, surgery, radiotherapy, 8 months of treatment. I wouldn't suggest that. And if I could have taken the time off, I absolutely would have. What I would suggest is find out who those people are who are going to send you food. Find out who those people are who you can ring up, because everyone has a different purpose, a different kind of skill set, and find out who those people are. And find the people who are going to let you be bloody miserable. You don't want someone who's going to be like, "No, come on, look for the positive." I have cancer. Yeah. I have postnatal depression. Yeah. I'm recovering from surgery. I'm recovering from trauma. Yeah. If I want to be sad today, let me be sad. Yeah. If I want to eat a croissant, let me eat a croissant. Don't tell me what I should be eating. The day after my surgery, my mum was staying with us. And I was like, "Mum, I want to go, and I want to go foraging for... what's that stuff? Like a cordial, elderflower.
Elderflower, I love it, elderflower.
I want to go foraging for elderflower." So I was high. I was super high. And I want to make elderflower cordial. And she was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yes, let's go." Similarly, 2 days after Tiana was born and I'd had that big surgery, I was like, "Mum, let's go walking into Catford." She was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yes, let's go."
Did you do these things?
I did them.
You went foraging for elderflower?
Yeah.
Did you get some?
Yeah.
Did you make elderflower cordial?
It was the best. It was the best. A lot of it got wasted because by the time I was got around to drinking, I was like, "There's bugs in this and all sorts." It was delicious.
You just
I need it.
Let you be.
Yeah.
Listen, I watch your IGs regularly, Leeanne, and you are hilarious. I'm telling you, you got jokes. People, you need to. We'll give people your handles after. Does Tiana have a lot of your characteristics?
Yes. She's funny. And then you only see the things that I put up.
Yeah.
I live my life singing and dancing at home, and there's constant dance parties, and we make up songs. I make up songs and I make her sing them, and I'm like, I teach her to them. I teach her these songs, and she's like, "What are we doing?" "Just sing along with me, baby, just go for it." And so she does a lot of that. She does a lot of dancing, a lot of singing. She asks a lot of questions. She's very, very funny.
And
Inquisitive. She's hilarious.
Does she help get you through?
Yeah, she did. She's so joyful. I'm very blessed that she doesn't really cry. She doesn't have temper tantrums. She's not rude. She does what she's told. And that made a big difference.
I know, after spending the whole day with her, I'm like, you have the perfect kid. I need a kid like tea.
My worry, though, is that I have made her somebody who is too, not easygoing, but too much of a go-with-the-flow person.
Right.
And what I want is for her to show a bit of fire. I want her to get a bit sassy sometimes and be like, "No, this isn't what I want to do. I know my mind. I know what I want." And sometimes I worry that because of how we had to be, she's too routine orientated. She's too good because she doesn't want to upset the status quo. And I worry that I've made her like that with my own anxieties and fears.
She's still young though, so she has plenty of time to show you some sass.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I know it's.
And then you're gonna wish, maybe. So I heard you say once that you don't consider yourself a speaker, right? You, Leanne, I have seen you on grand stages. How has it been to watch yourself emerge into the person you are now, having come through all these things, and you're speaking in front of people, hundreds of people. You are a motivator of others. What is it like now? How do you feel within yourself now? What gives you pride?
It's so interesting to me. I believe that we all wear masks, right? And I tell this story a lot when I'm talking about a different version of me, an older version of me, which is somebody who was very shy growing up, very bookish, wouldn't say boo to a goose, very conflict adverse. My first ever networking event, someone said, and this is my colleague, expecting me to say my name, and I couldn't say my name because I was so scared, and then I went home and cried. And there became a point where I was like, I don't really want to be like that anymore. I still struggle a lot with self-esteem. I don't know why people want to hear me talk. I don't know why people would be interested in anything I have to say. And that's for me to deal with. Yeah. Because logically speaking,
you bring a lot of value.
I do know, I can understand it, but then there's this voice inside me which is like, why would anyone want to listen to you? Why do you? Yeah. So as I've grown, and I would probably say since 2013, since I won my award in 2013, a different me has started to emerge, which is someone who realizes that we all have stories, we all have different stories, but there are so many common elements and common threads. And me getting up on stage isn't scared, quiet me. It's the me that wants to show people that you can do whatever you want, you can be whoever you want to be. And by me talking, it could help somebody else.
Absolutely. And you do it so eloquently. You do it so well.
Thanks.
I'm so proud whenever I see you out there. And you are just amazing. You are. I love you, Leanne. What's next for you? What's next?
I'm really... do you know what?
Everything.
I'm in my say yes era. I'm in my... It's very important that I make myself happy and therefore make my daughter happy. Can't pour from empty cups. My mask before other people's masks. It's meant that I've made some really huge life changes. You know, I'm now a single person. I'm a co-parent. I've got kittens.
Very new kittens, right?
Very new kittens. But what it's meant is if I want something and it's important to me and it's going to make my life better, then I cannot be afraid to go and get it. So whatever's next is gonna be the things that make me happy, and that scare me.
Does it?
In a good way. Good. In a good way. I want to feel the thrill of being alive. Yes. I want to feel the thrill of hopefully helping other people live their best life and making things better for them.
That is a perfect way to end this. Listen, Leanne, where can the people find you?
Instagram.
What's your handle?
At Leeanne Adu _LEEANNEADU_.
Yeah, I'll link it here.
LinkedIn, Instagram and LinkedIn. Cool. Don't look at my TikTok because it's foolish. It's foolishness.
Listen, before you go, Leanne, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Shared some really deep things with us and things that I feel that honestly will help our friends and listeners. But before you go, I am, like, music is in my DNA. I've said all this to my guests. Music is absolutely in my DNA. And I am making the Pressure to Passion playlist.
Amazing.
If you could describe your life in 3 songs, what would those 3 songs be? Because we need to put it on the playlist, baby.
Okay. Describe my life in 3 songs is really, really difficult. But to think about the songs that have really impacted me, I can do that. Yes. So, Hamilton the musical, I think if we went for Non-Stop, it's an amazing song. Hamilton got me through my cancer treatment. It was my fight music when I wanted to run away. I'd play Hamilton. Non-Stop is my absolute favorite songs on there. I haven't heard that one. It's amazing. And then again, I have to go for Beyonce. And Alien Superstar.
Is that a Beyonce song?
Alien Superstar is a Beyonce song, yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean? Oh, wow.
What is it from?
It's from Renaissance, thank you very much.
Did you go to Beyonce concert?
I absolutely did.
I have seen Beyonce.
I'm not even a Beyonce stan, but again, Renaissance came out when I was making some hard life decisions, and needed an album that was going to push me forward.
Okay.
And so Alien Superstar is definitely
okay.
on there.
So 2 songs I have yet not to hear. Okay, that's good. And your third?
This song came out when I was about 4 or 5 years old, lived in Northern Ireland, and went to a dance competition and won this dance competition. And I won a record of 2 Unlimited, No Limits.
Okay, I know that one.
Yeah. But, you know, No Limits, innit?
Yeah.
No Limits.
I love that. Those are amazing songs. High five, Leeanne. Oh, thank you so much for being here. Again, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Pressure to Passion podcast. Until next time, God bless.